On your journey to becoming a diver, you may have a small amount of anxiety when it comes to breathing underwater. But breathing underwater is as easy as breathing on the surface. The only difference is the gas you breathe underwater is delivered through a regulator, which is only one part of the air delivery system. Now that you understand pressure, this piece of equipment automatically regulates your cylinder pressure to ambient, surrounding pressure. Through your air delivery system, you can breathe underwater easily and effortlessly. Yes, the excitement of being underwater for the first time might increase your breathing rate. But once you are comfortable underwater, you will gain control over your breathing rate and master a slow, relaxed breathing pattern. The most efficient breathing pattern for scuba diving is a deep inhalation followed by a balanced exhalation. Deep, balanced, and rhythmic. The key is to relax and realize that your breathing patterns will automatically become more regular with experience. You will also discover that the proper swimming position, also referred to as attitude, is 15 to 20 degrees. This attitude allows your mouth and lungs to be horizontal and is the optimal swimming position for breathing easy at depth. Your regulator will provide you with a sufficient amount of air at ambient pressure. In other words, the sufficient amount of gas at depth is determined by environmental conditions, the amount of work you do underwater, and your physical condition. Air consumption also increases in direct proportion to the depth you are diving. The deeper you go, the more gas you use. For example, a diver at 2 bar or atmospheres absolute pressure in 10 meters or 33 feet uses twice as much air as a diver on the surface. A diver at 5 bar or atmospheres pressure in 40 meters or 130 feet uses 5 times as much air as a person on the surface. In addition, a diver sharing air with another diver can increase air consumption by a factor of 2 or more. The selection of your regulator, one that will serve you in all diving conditions, is the single most important decision you'll make in the purchase of your air delivery system. Your SSI dive professional will help you with this important decision. Air is roughly 21% oxygen, which we all need for survival, and 79% nitrogen. We cannot breathe pure oxygen underwater, and you'll find out later in this program that nitrogen is actually our limiting factor to depth and time. Just like there have been advances in equipment, there have also been advances in training. Ask your SSI dive professional about taking the SSI Enriched Air Nitrox Specialty Program. The first rule of scuba diving is breathe continuously. While you are on scuba, you must breathe continuously in and out in a rhythmic pattern. If your regulator is out of your mouth at depth for any reason, you should always exhale a small stream of bubbles. The second rule of scuba diving is ascend slowly and maintain control. The best way to control your ascent is by watching your dive computer. Never exceed an ascent rate of 10 meters or 30 feet per minute. Most dive computers have an ascent alarm to tell you when you are ascending too fast. The third rule of scuba diving: regain control, respond, react, which you need when responding to difficult situations. Regain control. Regain the capacity to think and make rational judgments. Respond. Consider the possible responses. React. Choose the proper response and act decisively. When diving, you must remain under control at all times. The breathing apparatus is called the air delivery system, which includes the first and second stage regulators, alternate air source, and a high-pressure scuba cylinder. The first stage. This takes high-pressure air in the cylinder and decreases the pressure to approximately 10 bar or 140 psi. The second stage. Your mouthpiece takes the air from the first stage at 10 bar or 140 psi and decreases it to ambient pressure, which is whatever you need for your current depth. After diving, and especially after diving in salt water, rinse your air delivery system and all your diving equipment in fresh water. Don't press the purge button while rinsing the second stages, unless the air delivery system is still attached to a cylinder and the air is on. Salt buildup can affect your air delivery regulator's operation. When properly maintained, your total diving system and your air delivery system is like a reliable buddy. Scuba diving equipment is life support equipment. The SSI Equipment Service Program is designed to keep your life support equipment properly maintained. Nothing is more disappointing than to arrive at a diving destination and find out that you have a minor equipment problem. Another important part of your total diving system is a specific spare parts kit. Your SSI Dive Center or resort can help you assemble all the necessary pieces you need for minor field maintenance. If you want to learn more about your equipment, ask your SSI Dive professional about the SSI Equipment Techniques program. Diving cylinders are available in many sizes and are made from either steel or aluminum with varying pressure ratings and capacities. Your SSI Dive professional will help you decide which cylinder size is best for your height, strength, and air consumption. All diving cylinders have markings at the neck of the cylinder that describes the material, date the cylinder was manufactured, size, and pressure. It is important to understand cylinder marking codes so you will know the proper pressure and capacity of your diving cylinder. The markings on older or specialty cylinders may vary, and your SSI Dive professional can help you understand any special markings. The most important part of caring for your cylinder is keeping moisture out. To do that, simply keep a minimum cylinder pressure at all times. Store the cylinder in a cool, dry place. When transporting a cylinder, position it with the bottom of the cylinder forward. Secure the cylinder so it cannot roll around. Maintaining body temperature in water is a serious factor while diving. While air is an excellent insulator for blocking heat transmission, water is an excellent conductor. Water absorbs body heat 25 times faster than air. The body's primary responsibility is to keep the brain and torso warm. If the body can no longer do that, a phenomenon called blood shunting occurs, slowing circulation to the outer extremities of the body. And while that may be fine on the surface, that is not good underwater. So, how do we solve the issue? The answer is thickness, fit, and seam integrity. Thickness solves conduction. Fit and seam integrity solves convection. Then it's all about layering. That can be a rash guard, lightweight fleece, wetsuit in all thicknesses, or even a dry suit. It will largely depend on the type of diving you will be doing. Wetsuits are also buoyant and require you to wear just enough weight to offset this buoyancy. But let's not forget that as depth increases, so does pressure, and that will happen to closed nitrogen cells. They will compress. This is why you wear a buoyancy compensator to make descending, swimming at the proper attitude or position at depth, ascending, and surface flotation easy. After diving, soak your exposure suit with wetsuit shampoo. Rinse thoroughly and hang to dry. Never store your suit folded or compressed. It could become permanently creased and create cold spots where the bubbles break down. Hang the suit on a wetsuit hanger and store in a cool, dry place. Dry suits are used for cool to cold water conditions. Air instead of water is filled in a dry suit by an inflation valve, which is connected with your regulator's first stage by an inflator hose. Air is introduced into the suit for thermal protection and to prevent suit squeeze. On ascent, air in the suit must be allowed to escape through an exhaust valve. Diving in a dry suit is very different from diving in a wetsuit. If dry suit diving sounds like something you want to try, ask your SSI dive professional about the dry suit specialty program. Proper buoyancy control makes the difference between an enjoyable, effortless dive and an uncomfortable, potentially dangerous situation in open water. Many serious diving problems have been linked to inadequate buoyancy control. Buoyancy is the characteristic of a fluid to push up on an object immersed in it. There are three types of buoyancy that can describe an object immersed in a liquid: positive, negative, and neutral. Positive buoyancy. An object less dense than the liquid will float. For example, any object weighing less than 1.03 kilograms per liter or 64 pounds per cubic foot floats in salt water. Negative buoyancy. An object with greater density than the liquid will sink. For example, any object weighing more than 1.03 kilograms per liter or 64 pounds per cubic foot will sink. Neutral buoyancy. An object with density equal to the density of the liquid will neither sink nor float. For example, an object weighing 1.03 kilograms per liter or 64 pounds per cubic foot will remain neither sinking nor floating. To compensate for positive buoyancy of the diver and the exposure suit, a diver needs a weight to descend. The weight belt or weight pockets are designed to easily disengage in case of emergency. Weights, and only in the amount needed by a diver, are threaded and balanced onto a traditional right-hand release weight belt. If needed, the weight belt is easily released, held away from the body, and dropped. With weight-integrated buoyancy compensators, the weights are evenly balanced in weight pockets attached to the BC. If needed, a quick release is pulled and the weights fall. It is important for your safety and comfort, as well as for the environment, that you are not overweighted. Proper buoyancy control is the best possible environmental protection every diver can perform. Your SSI dive professional will work with you to achieve proper weighting and buoyancy control. If you want to learn more about conserving energy and improving air consumption, look into the Perfect Buoyancy Specialty Program to get some advanced training. The BC provides you with surface flotation and is used to control your ascents and descents. You can easily control your descent by letting air out of your BC slowly. As you descend, the suit will compress, and you simply add small amounts of air to your BC to remain neutral throughout the dive. Neutral buoyancy also allows you to ascend effortlessly. You just have to remember, as pressure decreases, what happens? Volume increases. You will need to control your ascent to the surface by purging air from your BC. Remember, the greatest relative change takes place at the last 10 meters or 33 feet. Your dive computer will monitor your ascent rate and safety stop. Once you reach the surface, simply fill your BC for positive buoyancy. After a dive, open your BC or inflation valve and run water into the bladder. Note, If it's weight integrated, take the weights out before washing. Tilt the BC upside down to make sure the water goes throughout the device. Then, turn the device down, open it, and drain the rinse water. Dry and store your device by filling it 1/3 full of air and placing it in a cool, dry place. The last component of the total diving system is the information system. The information system is designed to easily prepare and follow a dive plan. Dive computer, SSI dive tables, SSI total dive log. Here's how all these components work together. We live in a computer world, and recreational diving is no different. Dive computers are automatically activated in the water and immediately start recording information: depth, time, air pressure, temperature, and time remaining underwater based on your air consumption. Once on the surface, the dive computer also calculates your time out of the water to determine how long you need to remain on the surface before your next dive. There are many computers available for various types of diving. If you plan on taking an SSI Enriched Air Nitrox specialty, you may want to consider a Nitrox programmable computer. Likewise, if you plan on taking the SSI Navigation specialty, you may want to consider a computer with an integrated compass. The SSI Total Dive Log is a permanent record of your certification information and individual diving data, beginning with your classroom, pool, and open water training dives. It is important not only to evaluate your skills, but to keep up with your diving experience. The SSI Total Dive Log has a place for equipment and maintenance records, as well as health and medical information. SSI Total Dive Log is designed to add additional pages as needed. The dive light is just another example of something that is very useful on any dive. An artificial light allows you to see the real color of soft and hard corals, even at depth. So, a dive light can be used for several purposes: day diving, night or limited visibility diving, or exploring wrecks. It's always a good idea to carry what we call the Save-A-Kit. You don't want to have spent a lot of money on a vacation and then have something minor spoil a dive. These are some of the things you might want to take with you: an extra mask, O-rings, extra mask strap, anti-fog solution, lens cleaner, extra mouthpieces, wire ties, batteries, light bulbs, and maybe even a multi-purpose tool. For a more complete list, look in your SSI Total Dive Log. Diving is all about comfort and confidence. As you can now see, equipment plays an important role in your safety underwater. This is why there is a difference in learning to dive and becoming a diver. The diver that makes an investment in his or her equipment is a committed diver. If this is you, SSI recommends that you purchase your own personally fitted, high-quality, total diving system and use it in training. You will be much more comfortable when you do your open water dives. Your SSI Dive Center and Dive Professional are the experts. Consult them anytime you have questions.